All throughout my years of coaching and just talking to people in general, I've heard many say that they can't stick to simple, or as they call it, boring champions in League. They don't find it fun, so they never end up sticking to them. In this video, I'm going to go over why I'm able to do it, why I can play literally any champion in any role, and I can still have fun doing it, even if I were to one-trick it. It doesn't really matter to me what I'm playing. As long as I'm playing League, I'm having fun. I will go ahead and clarify that, of course, this is what I find fun. Different people have their different things that they want to get from League. I personally find most of my enjoyment from the improvement process and trying to refine on things that I already know, as well as learning new things. For example, when I'm playing Garen, I get memed on for him being a really easy champion, which is why I pick him. And they'll say, oh yeah, look at this Garen combo and it's QER. Yeah, I get it. But there's so many small little things that if you don't main the champion, you're not going to know, or you may know, but it takes a while and you have to usually talk to a main of that champion to learn about it. Some of these can be Garen Q allows them to get over small walls, like a Warwick W. Some people know about that one because it's kind of more talked about. But even then, a lot of people, when I tell them that, they're really surprised, even the people that do play Garen. Other things are like starting trades with your E instead of starting it with your Q because you get the armor shred, but this is going to be dependent on if you can actually get into melee range, so it's matchup dependent as well as just the general situations. A lot of people don't know to cancel their E early so they can get a last auto in to kill the champion faster, or how to use an auto attack to cancel their R animation. All of these are really simple in isolation, but again, it's not something that you're going to know unless either A, you spend a lot of time playing the champion and learn it over time, or you talk to a main and then you try to implement it yourself. Either way, I think these tiny little things adding up are what make simple champions really cool, because you think you've got it completely figured out and then you'll learn an entirely new thing that you didn't know. Like in my case, I used to think that Quinn was by far the worst matchup for Garen. But then one day I was talking to a different Garen player and he taught me about the Quinn matchup and how I can use Ghost and Stridebreaker to actually make that matchup really easy by the time I have Stridebreaker. Just these tiny little perception changes are what makes it so much fun. And this applies for any champion. Like, let's say you change a rune setup or you change a build setup, and it can completely change how that champion plays or interacts with another champion. There's also synergies between champions or anti-synergies between champions. For example, when I'm playing Warwick, I love to have something like a Zillion on my team because when he speeds me up, it gives me a longer ult range, as well as if I'm going to die, he can ult me. And on Warwick, I don't mind coming out of the ult low HP. I love playing at low HP, but some other champions may not benefit from that as much. And that's what makes League so fun, is that different champions have different interactions with other champions. Some like it and some don't. Example of anti-synergy would be when I'm playing Garen and I have a Jarvan on my team. If the Jarvan ults somebody, I cannot get over the wall unless I use my flash. So going into the game and knowing that is the case, it allows me to play a little bit differently. I'll think, okay, if my Jarvan used ult here, I need to interact with this way. It's the same thing when I'm playing Zac. If I have a Lux on my team, Seraphine on my team, anything with a straight line ultimate, I need to be careful about using my ult because it could knock them out of it if we use it at the same time. Speaking of Zac, he's not the simplest champion in the jungle, but he's definitely on the simpler side, and there's still so many things to learn about him. When it comes to your Q, a lot of people, as soon as they land their E, they'll just spam out the Q, when in reality, you could wait a little bit, wait for the enemy to flash, or get a little bit more distance, and then get a longer range Q to make sure you actually secure the kill. There's so much that goes into his W, min-maxing the blob so that you don't waste the cooldown, but you're always using it as soon as you can. Using your ultimate to pick up the blobs because it gives you a longer range on the blobs. Some more cool things about Zac is that people can teleport to his blobs, although a lot of people know that one. But also, his Sunfire can kill people, like in this clip. I absolutely love going to really low HP fights, knowing that when I die, my blobs will kill the enemy. There's more that goes into Zac's kit. I'm not going to spend all day talking about it, but you should get the idea that I'm getting at here. With regardless of the champion, there's so many different things that you can learn from it. Even if you think you've got the champion entirely figured out, I promise you, you don't. There's still ways that you can continue to get better and better on your champion, whether it be how it interacts with other champions or just in general how your champion is supposed to be used. When I'm playing Warwick, there's a lot of things that go into playing him as well. Using his W to scout is a fantastic way to improve on Warwick, because that way you can check brushes without actually dying to it, although this is usually something you do in mid to late game, because if you do it too early, the cooldown is too high and then you get punished for that. A lot of people use his E way too early in fights, and so they end up dying because they're not using their E at the right timing to maximize their passive, staying at low HP, or they don't use their Q properly, where a lot of Warwick players don't know that you can use his E during the Q hold, which is really, really important for a lot of fights in Warwick, and people will just default to EQ, and then the enemy flashes before the Q actually connects, and they've wasted their E. It's a nightmare. After all that, I'm sure that there are many people watching this video that will still think I'm completely out of my mind, these champions are too boring and they're not worth playing. And that's fine. If you don't gain enjoyment out of the refining of the champion or just the champions in general, then that's okay. I'm not saying that you have to enjoy it or force you to enjoy it. I'm just giving my perspective on how I find the champions so fun, that way maybe you'll resonate with some of these ideas, and if you actually go and play some simple champions, you'll find that you find them fun as well.